Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible. So, what if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the amazing authors of one of our newest books. This is called The Wellness Universe Guide to Complete Self Care 25 Tools for Transformation. And you guys, this is Anna Pereira's sixth book in this amazing series. I want to give her a shout out today before I introduce these wonderful authors to you. Anna is the founder of the Wellness Universe. Anna, thank you so much for your big mission and vision, both for what you do in the world, but also for this book series. You have gathered together this stellar group of expert authors to talk about what transformation really means. And this book is going to change lives. I'm so grateful to be in your world and honored to be guiding this project with you. So I have some pretty cool people in my Zoom room today. Claire Marie Cahote is the owner of CMK Energy, where she empowers clients not to just survive, but to thrive in life. Teresa Micheletti is a spiritual life coach, healer, channel, and hypnotist who guides people to their most joyful life path and transforms their lives. I also have Rachel Everson Fink. She's the owner of Aventurine Wellness, where she supports the vitality and wellness of others via intention-based field resonance testing. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear about all of these things, you guys. Okay, Claire Marie, you're going to start this party off today. Tell us a little bit about the why behind the chapter that you wrote for the book.
Well, first of all, I'd really like to thank you, Laura, for putting this all together, and to Anna for being part of this. This is the second time I've worked with you, Laura, and it has always been incredibly professional, and I feel very lucky to be part of this.
Thank you.
Um, my chapter is chapter 7 in the book, and it is surrender meditation, let go and let flow, finding your authentic alignment. And to me, the why is because when we surrender, we let go of things that we are trying so hard to have as attachments in our lives that sometimes, a lot of the time, hold back our personal alignment and what our truth actually is. And so when we really think of letting go, we surrender to our own alignment, we surrender to what we know is right, and it becomes a source of freedom. So when we talk about don't just survive, don't just hack down those bushes and step over the logs, move them out of the way so that you can thrive, you can get into the flow and see the authentic possibilities.
So, how do you know you're aligned in any given moment? What is it for you?
Well, it does take some work to find where that is. I know from in my story, I talk about all the different times that I've had to kinda, touch that space and find out, know what is really mine and what isn't. And there's a lot of times in my life, majority of my life is trying to find my own alignment. And what it means to have that versus something else. And it's a feeling that a lot of times we don't trust. It is our own intuition that drives us to make choices that are right for us. And when we don't listen to it, we get off track. And that is a situation that can be somewhat damaging. And so when we actually listen, we find that alignment. It becomes something that will keep us moving in a very positive direction in our lives.
Yeah, for sure. So for me and my body, it's a palpable feeling of joy and excitement. It's definitely a good feel.
Right?
um,
There's a
yeah.
resonance, right? There's a resonance when we know what that is, especially when we know we're doing something wrong, right? We know that something it feels contrary, even though we're doing it because we know we're supposed to. There's a feeling that we ignore, and that is the very best place to find that. And then we can deepen that through a lot of different energy work.
Yeah, this is such great stuff. Thank you for kicking off this interview so well with this particular topic. These topics, gals, like, and also to our listeners, we could be here for 3 hours talking about any one of these juicy, juicy topics. Claire Marie, thank you for being back and for saying yes to this project, for being here today.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you, Laura.
Rachel, let's hear a little bit about your why.
Well, my perspective, my chapter is chapter 14, and my title is Change Your Perspective to Uplevel Your Consciousness. And my why for sharing this um, has a lot to do with my own personal journey of trying to figure out how do I identify worth for myself, and then how do I show up in the world as worthy, and really just taking that time to figure out what makes my life rich, full, and how do I stand in my authenticity, which is the highest vibing state we can be in, and show up in that way and then affect change as a result. So, my why really has been because I've overcome some obstacles in my life, abuse or, neglectful situations. And so my why is letting people know that even if you face those things, you can change them, you can move through them, and they can be a part of your story, but they don't have to be the place you stay. And I think that that's why I really said yes to this. When Claire told me about the opportunity, thinking about working with you and Anna, it was just this idea of like, yeah, I'm ready to let these stories be in the world and allow them to be there for other people to learn from, and understand that you don't have to stay where you are. You can change even in pretty significant situations.
So, it's a little bit of a similar question back to you. When you are living an authentic moment, how do you know? How does it feel compared to when you are not?
I think for me personally, when I feel like I'm living in authenticity, it feels not always easy, and it's not that it doesn't feel scary. So I think sometimes we assume that, oh, I'm in my authentic power, and so therefore it shouldn't be maybe a little uncomfortable. And I think really what I've discovered is that I challenge myself to say, what part of this is mine? And being humble enough to be like, I think I need to really kind of self-reflect. And the other piece of it really is, what does feeling worthy look like? Do I need to say no? Do I need to, maybe ask for help? Do I need to think about the relationships I'm in? Like, am I over functioning here? Am I starting to feel resentful? So I think for me, authenticity has really been this idea of, yes, I'm in alignment and I feel good about the choices I'm making, and I feel settled about them, even if they're tricky, if that makes sense. Like, that moment can feel tricky, but I feel good about it, even though it was hard to move through.
I love the way that you had explained that. That's great, because sometimes that feeling makes you want to run in the other direction. But honestly, if you could just take a couple breaths right there and feel that there's a good, solid confidence underneath it, right? Yeah, it's called that purpose driven fear in my world.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's really can be confusing. I think people assume that if you feel some discomfort, you're wrong. And I would say, well, get aware of the discomfort. Why? Is it because you're standing in your authenticity and you're a little worried that people won't like it? Is that why? It's not about you sometimes, right? It's just like, oh boy, here I go, toes on the cliff edge. Gonna do it.
exactly.
Rachel, I think that
Exactly.
was very, very well put. That was
Thanks.
very well put. Thank you for those words.
Yeah.
So Rachel, thank you also for saying yes and for being here today. This is a fun group, and the universe always puts you all together for a reason, right? I love it so far. Okay, Teresa, tell us a little bit about your why behind your chapter. Let me get you to unmute.
My chapter is expectations. Are you creating what you don't want? So the why is I was creating what I didn't want. I was expecting everything to be the yucky part that it was. I remember my mom saying, "You are never smiling anymore. You never smile anymore." And I realized I was unhappy. So this chapter is how I climbed out of that situation and was able to claim my happiness, claim my joy again. And it's all related to expectations.
So there's somebody listening, and you held up a mirror just now, like they probably recognized themselves and thought, "Whoa, when's the last time I smiled?" So if you were going to talk to them and say, "Hey, here's the first stepping stone," what do you think it was for you?
Realization that I was not happy and I needed to figure out, why am I not happy? How can I shift to create a life that I love, a more joyful life?
And that's the awareness, right? With awareness, then we finally get a choice to think and believe and do something different. What did you do? What was the first thing you did?
I connected with someone who could help me figure out what was going on, a therapist, not actually Angel Channel, um, and just worked through how was I facing life at that point in time, and how could I shift to feel better about myself, to feel that I wasn't always going to be put down. If whatever it was at that point in time, I needed to just make some realizations and just examine my life and figure out, what do I like about it? What I don't like about it? How can I change? What do I need to do?
Yes, I love I love listening to y'all talk about your journeys. It's um all three of you are helping our listeners. The book is going to change so many lives for these reasons, because you're all getting really vulnerable about your own path. Teresa, thank you also for saying yes to this, for being here to share with everyone today. I have a big thank you to all three of you. And while I'm doing that, I'll give everybody a little sneak peek of this beautiful cover of our book. But the thank you is, for putting that vulnerable story in there. And then you're all master teachers. So get ready, listeners, because when you get to the second part of their chapters, they're stepping up as the master teacher they are. And you're going to have a practical experience with these powerful tools. And it's one thing, because you all coach your people and you help people every day, but it's quite another thing to get it in black and white in a book, in a way that a reader can have an experience with it. And this is what everyone is going to enjoy when they grab their copy of this awesome book. Rachel, what does transformation even mean to you?
I've thought a lot about it, and I thought a lot about how do I, in some ways in my own life personify or bring to light what transformation might mean. And I really think for me personally, it is a willingness to see both yourself and situations differently. That's why my chapter is about perspective shifting, because you can have a moment where you're seeing this limited potential, and or you can see it as an opportunity to learn and grow and change. So for me, it's transformation is about a willingness to go in a different direction or see a situation differently. It may not be physically changing your environment around you. It is a willingness to see to the same situation differently. And I think when you're willing to do that, it allows you to break free of where you are. Because sometimes we can be mentally stuck, sometimes we're physically stuck, emotionally. And it's like, well, what if we could see it this way? And I think that that's really how I coach people when I see them as clients. It's just like, well, I hear what you're saying. You for instance, a client, her dad was getting care at a facility like she hated, but he loved. He felt so loved and well cared for. And it just would eat at her and make her upset and frustrated because she's like, I don't love this for him. And really, in that moment, it's not about changing anything that's happening. I said, well, what if you just choose to see it like your dad does? Just transform how you engage with this. You don't have to change anything, just love it for him. So, like, even just that little bit of a shift to say, that's not yours to own. Can you shift that and just see it for the love he carries? So, those little moments that maybe eat at us in our personal relationships, again, these don't have to be massive transformations. I think we can kind of get caught in the idea of it has to be really big. And I would say it's actually these little shifts that can make a huge difference in your day-to-day existence and the relationships you have.
For sure they can. Thank you for that. Claire Marie, I saw your hand go up as I was asking Rachel that question. What did you want to add from before?
Well, it was just about the book and
Yeah.
how transformation is very important. And it is all about not being stuck, and how each one of us, all 21 and 25, I can't remember how many authors there are, have a different perspective on how to get yourself unstuck. So you're going to find something within the book that resonates to help you make those choices. No matter
Yes.
whose perspective, you're going to find a perspective in here, or several of them, that help you make those little points. And to have so many different voices is a foundational piece to help readers get to that spot. And that's all it is transformation from being in a stuck place to being in a place where you actually enjoy life. How incredible to enjoy life. A lot of
Yes.
people don't, and
Well,
it's hard to watch.
well, and I love that. I love the idea that that Claire brought up. You know, it's really just about coming unstuck. That transformation is about, like, I feel stuck, big, smaller, whatever, and now I'm unstuck. And I think that's beautiful. Thank you.
And how freeing it is to have that space. I mean, you're going to read how people, all the different authors, found that space. And it's not easy. It didn't just happen. Everybody worked at it. Every you can do it too, right? You can do it too in all of these different ways. And being so blessed to be able to have Anna bring all of these different voices together to find how those little niches work. I talk to my clients about, find your intuition, open the book, open it, read the chapter that's right in front of you, because that might be the chapter that helps you get unstuck.
Love it.
Wonderful.
Teresa, what does transformation even mean to you?
I believe it's focusing on what's right now that you can figure out, and then trying to refocus on the path that will bring you more joy. So transformation to me is being aware, reflecting, being aware, and then being able to know, okay, I want to change something. Okay, what do I want to change? What do I want to transform? And it doesn't have to be big things. It can be little steps, tiny steps. Just take a step. It may be the wrong one. That's fine. You took a step. Now go find a different step to take. And that book, our book, has so many tools for people's toolbox. It's like, which three do you want the best? Which five do you want? Which ones match your pathway, your journey? And everyone is going to find something in the book that will just resonate with them and make them feel better and realize, I'm not the only one. Okay, I can try this one. So that's what
It's
transformation is to me.
You all are talking about the reason I do expert collaborative book projects. So, because we need all your voices and we need all the tools. And when we all come together to offer for people, then you all are right. There's something that everyone can find in there that will resonate. Teresa, I'm going to stick with you for this final question for all of you. What's the most important thing you want people to know about expectations? I love that topic, by the way.
expectations change your life. Expectations make such a big difference. And if we aren't aware that we're expecting something, then, like me, I was unhappy because I didn't realize it was my expectations that were so powerful because we're all creators. I was creating the expectations that I didn't want. And then I was continuing on that path and making sure it was firm. I had those expectations in my hand, and that's the way it was going to be. And it changed my life because it was something that I didn't want.
We're often taught to expect worst case scenario, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it takes something to break out of that mindset that we're conditioned to have and go for the joy. I love that topic. It's a manifestation topic. It's powerful, powerful. Claire Marie, what's the most important thing you want people to know about authentic alignment?
It brings freedom. It brings freedom. When you are able to surrender those expectations that aren't in alignment with who you are, when you want to be happy and you're finding out that you're not, surrender. Don't keep doubling down and fighting so hard for something that isn't you, that isn't in your best interest. Know who you are and move in a space that allows you to be that and move with that through the world.
Yes, nice. This is sometimes, when you guys hear something and you're not there, it's hard to imagine the path. But I think the one thing that I'll tell you about this book and these chapters is that you have so many options for the path. And I'm just listening to you all thinking, this is going to be good for people. Rachel, you're going to close us out today on yours. What's the most important thing you want people to know about changing that perspective, right? And it's in your title, that up levels consciousness. Tell us what you want to know about that.
Well, I think it's a combination of what Claire and Teresa said. It's this idea of getting clear about really how you're seeing a situation and maybe challenging yourself to see it in a new way, an empowered way, a compassionate way. I think it's really easy for us to all of a sudden start being like, that's terrible, and that's terrible, and that's terrible. And that then becomes our perspective. And I was talking to a girlfriend, she's like, I'm just struggling so much in the world. There's a lack of hope. And I go, but I'm sitting across from you and I see this really talented, creative human. I said, that's my focus. That's my perspective, that there's more of that, that I tune into that I speak potential into that. And that's really the thing. I think, especially in these harder times, you have to fine tune your focus, your perspective, and find those moments, be those moments, but also find those moments and really make those your focus, to clarify expectation and where you want to go, to live with freedom and authenticity of self. It's just like, make the things that you want more of your focus and make that your perspective. And I just think that that's one of the things that we are facing because of like the algorithm. We get fed the things that we're kind of tuning into, and it's like, okay, if you don't like what you're being fed, shift your perspective. Look for beauty, look for art, look for moments of engagement. So that's really what I feel like, is sometimes we can get stuck over here, and it's just like, if I just shift, I may find something different, and I may wake up to the beauty surrounding me.
Rachel, Teresa, Claire Marie, thank you all so much for what you do in the world. Thanks for being here today to share it with everyone. Listeners, if you heard something that gave you the goosebumps today, maybe you have a question or you just want to carry on these juicy conversations, this is way more than a book. This is a very generous community of people waiting for you to reach out. Come on down to the show notes. Everybody's website is there. They're waiting for you to ask the question or ask for the support. Let's not make the reaching out the hardest part, right? It's easy, especially with a generous community like we have here. We'd also love it if you hop over to Amazon and grab a copy of the book today. You're going to love it. We want to hear everything about it after you read. And lastly, today, everyone, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.
Thank you.
I thank you.